I'm getting married on Monday. Today is the 18th of October 2019. It is going to be a simple registry office affair. We may or may not follow it up with a quote-unquote proper wedding at some point in the future. As I'm looking forward towards a new chapter in my life, I can't help but look back and contemplate and reflect about the past, as you do. And as I do that, I'm also reminded that we are fastly approaching Christmas. Yes, I celebrate Christmas. Yes, I am aware that Christmas might have been a tradition adopted, taken from, based on older pre-Christian traditions in Europe. My ancestry isn't from Europe, but I did grow up Roman Catholic. So my ex-husband used to joke that I saw him as God, and the reason for that is because I told him once that I finally understood God because of him. That in that scenario, he was like God. In the scenario of the Christian theology that my Christian friends in my 20s during my university years tried to explain to me. In my 20s, I explored the more Protestant spectrum of the faith, and it was some of the most intellectually rigorous inquiry I've ever had in my whole entire 50 years of life. If Roman Catholicism, at least the one that I grew up with, at least the way my family practiced it, or still practices it, I suppose, it was a very emotive, it was a very immediate, it was a very experiential, physical almost experience where a certain intellectual rigor is suspended. My exploration of the more Protestant spectrum of the faith was the complete opposite and provided a really good balance for me at the time, one that I badly needed. But from that exploration, I was told that one thing that stayed with me was that what is unique about Christianity, which I have been thinking about staying or leaving for the past 20 or 30 years, believe it or not, is this idea that you are loved just because. It is this idea that you are loved because you are. It is this idea that being loved requires no reason, requires no payment, requires no work, requires no favor, that you do not have to pay back something that you are gifted with, but you are free to either pay it forward or not. And although intellectually I understood that, and Christmas and gift giving during Christmas, and yes, I understand that the tradition of gift giving, like a lot of traditions, are human creation and are adopted various ways in various times. For me personally, though, it has become this material, outward symbol of what I understand or what I come to believe to be not so much the truth, but something that is extremely significant to who I am and how I see the world. That is to say that I am loved because I am, and for no other reason other than because I am. When I was in grad school, my ex-husband and I broke up for the very first time, and he continued to support me in my pursuit of graduate studies, without which I would not have been able to complete it. And after I graduated, I was filled with a sense of expansiveness, with a sense of gratitude. And there's no place to pay it back because he didn't expect me to pay it back. He didn't want anything for it. He wasn't collecting favors or anything. And there's this sense of welling expansion of, it's very hard to explain other than my heart and my chest felt like it expanded, and I had to go somewhere with it. And so in the end, I was driven to give back to my community, to the people around me, as a way of honoring his love, of honoring his generosity, and in the simplest of terms, I suppose, to make him proud. And if you think it sounds a little bit paternalistic, it probably is, because, you know, I feel the same sense of, not obligation, but the same sense of drive with regards to my parents, who, if you grow up Asian, you'll know the idea of filial piety. And my parents, though, never enforced it. I was never placed in a position where I felt I owe them. And even my cultural upbringing, the chatter is there about how much we owe our parents. But when we do express an act of love or acts of love towards our parents, it's because we feel a sense of wanting to honor them for what they've done for us, the things they've done for us without asking for anything in return. And it's the same sense that I had for my ex-husband at the time. And I told him this. I said, you made me understand God. You made me understand what God is like according to my Christian friends, in a way that I have understood it intellectually but never quite have it sunk in until then, in an experiential emotional level. And I'm quite big on St. Nicholas Day, in honor of St. Nicholas rather than Santa Claus, because the story goes that he went around leaving money, I think, or gifts in people's shoes, the shoes that people left outside, and in the windowsills. And so in some traditions around the world, and I grew up in Europe, where the tradition is for St. Nicholas to leave presents in my boots. And I know friends who spent time in Scandinavia who would lit candles on their windowsills as a way of lighting St. Nicholas's way as he approached each house to leave money or coins or presents there. And St. Nicholas is another embodiment, or his legend at least, or his stories. He was a bishop in Asia Minor, I think. And is that embodiment of giving without asking or expecting anything in return, of paying love forward because we have first been loved, because we were loved first, simply because we are. It makes us, well, me for sure, feels bigger and more expansive, to a point where you can share yourself with the whole world and not feel depleted. Both with my ex-husband, with my parents, the sense of wanting to make them proud. It's not quite accurate, although there is that there, but it's more the strong desire to honor them. And not only them, but most importantly, to honor their love for me. That sense really builds you up. That sense makes me bigger, stronger. It makes me visible. It makes me solid. It helped me, the sense of I am, the sense of we are, became expansive. And I think for me, my ex-husband's love for me, my parents' love for me, and Christmas, which is coming, it all culminates in that one word, love. And it culminates in the reality for me that I have been loved, I have been shaped by love, I have been created through love, I have been created by love, I have been maintained by love, I have been propelled by love, I have been made expansive by love, I have been made strong by love, I've existed through love. And the kind of love that is not desire, a kind of love that isn't emotive, it's a kind of love which gives for the sake of others without expecting anything in return. An act of love that is simply an act that just has to be for no other reason but to love. And yeah, that's my thought for today. And I'll talk to you guys later, I guess.